Good morning, dear hearts. We are at lesson 11, and please subscribe. Today's lesson is My Meaningless Thoughts Are Showing Me a Meaningless World. This is a continuation of a major phase of correction. And we've been introduced to this already in lesson 4, that these thoughts do not mean anything. And yesterday, my thoughts do not mean anything, which I had already previewed. And now today, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. What we're given here is a real cause and effect. The cause of me seeing a meaningless world is because I am having meaningless thoughts. And so there was a phrase many years ago, I think in the computer industry when it first was starting, that garbage in, garbage out. That's what we're having. If I have garbage, meaningless, dark thoughts coming into my mind, then what I will see will be the projection of those dark thoughts. We have two things that happen when we believe we are seeing, and one is projection, which is coming from the small mindedness of my ego, and it's filled with fear. And then everything that is coming from that source with a little s is going to be meaningless, going to be dark, going to be frightening, in fact. So I have to change the source of how I am thinking in order for me to not see a meaningless world. The lesson itself today is spent mostly, the text part of the instruction is really spent more on how to practice this, because it's a little bit different, and it's to close your eyes and then look around the room, and for every object that you see, and to just repeat the idea that my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world, no matter what it is I'm looking at, and to do this no more than 3 times. We all have within us a voice inside our head. We actually have 2. The one that is showing me and giving me meaningless thoughts is that ego voice. What we learn about the ego voice is it does speak first, and it does speak loudest. If I am only aware of that voice within me, it will determine what I see. In order to change anything, there first must come awareness. So I must become aware of these meaningless thoughts coming from a fear-based voice within me in order for me to shift that and not make that my reality. It doesn't matter who you are. We all have that voice. What we will do as we continue through this workbook and this wonderful spiritual path is we will learn to quiet that voice. It may never be completely gone, because if I'm in form, my ego is still there to some extent, but it will be quieted, and I will learn to recognize it. So my meaningless thoughts are currently showing me a meaningless world, but I can change and shift and decide whether or not I listen to those thoughts. And I think that might be all that we need to speak of today. This is, again, a major phase of our correction. We must recognize it in order to change it. And that's what we are doing here, by recognizing that my meaningless thoughts are indeed showing me a meaningless world. So please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, and please be here tomorrow. Namaste.